Chapter 342, The Old Fox Alger. Suggestions: my advice is to stay as far away as possible. Upon hearing the son's question, Klein instantly had such an answer in his mind. However, in order to preserve the image of the fool and see what the others would suggest, he remained silent and did not manipulate the world to speak. After a short moment of silence, Alger turned his head to look at the son. He said in a staid and gentle voice, "You have provided too little information, so it's difficult for us to give any useful advice. The only thing we know of regarding that semi-destroyed temple is the presence of the true creator, or in other words, the fallen creator's unique statue. We don't know what else is there, so naturally, we aren't able to make much of an analysis of the situation. The fallen creator is indeed the true creator. To think that there's faith in the true creator in the city of silver where the sun lives. There's even a temple built." The magician Fours listened with relish and almost wanted to write it down. Justice Audrey waited for the son's description of the strange temple in anticipation. Derek nodded, his eyes looking up for a few seconds before he said, "In addition to the statue, there are also many incomplete murals with terrifying evil spirits lingering around. However, they have already been eliminated by the exploratory team led by 2 elders from the 6-member council. I've yet to see those murals with my own eyes. It's said that it records the prophecy of the end of days and how the fallen creator will save his believers, as well as the corresponding bloody ritual. In the corner of a certain mural, there are some strange characters that appear to be evolved from Jotun. After some deciphering, a few elders believe that they meant Rose Redemption. This might a code name for the original muralist. It might also be the code name of the organization that built the temple and the city. According to the chief's judgment, these murals are at least 1,000 years old. The 1,000 years I'm referring to is the one that you know, but I'm not completely sure. In the city of Silver, we use the frequency of lightning to demarcate our days. It's considered night when the lightning eases up and day when there's plenty of lightning. 1 cycle is a day, and the 4 seasons only exist in books, so we can't grasp the specific number of days. Only the chief can confirm that." At this point in the son's story, Fours suspected that she was listening to a fairy tale. A city without the sun, without the red moon, without day and night or changes in the seasons, it sounded unreal no matter how she listened to it. Only fairy tales or novels would make such daring descriptions. And the author has to smoke cannabis and be in a state of psychotic madness in order to create such a city. The first thought that came to her mind after her astonishment was, "I want to use the city of silver as a blueprint for a novel." However, she soon gave up on this idea, for she didn't know what the city of silver really implied. She wasn't sure if it was a secret that was collectively concealed by the 7 churches, and she was afraid that as soon as the book was published, she, as the author, would have the Nighthawks knocking on her door, claiming to collect the copper pennies in her gas meter. So that's the kind of environment which the city of silver has. The sun also often mentions of monsters lurking deep in the darkness. Unfortunately, I'm only at sequence 8. Otherwise, I would really like to ask Mr. Fool to send me there for an adventure. No, Audrey, you are no longer an innocent girl. You should be aware of how much danger is involved in this matter. Justice Audrey switched between letting her thoughts run wild, while also engaging in self-reflection. At least 1,000 years. The Aurora Order hasn't been in existence for more than 3 centuries. It might not even be 2 centuries old. It's unlikely to be built by them. Perhaps the true creator's faith had begun as early as the 5th epoch or even the 4th epoch. However, the organization that revered him wasn't the Aurora Order. In the next 1 to 2,000 years, the 7 Orthodox churches have been repressing it, causing the true creator's believers to be in a crisis. The churches have destroyed them again and again, and finally, they had resurrected themselves as the Aurora Order. Klein, who had some guesses, made his seating posture and state appear unchanged. Derek paused for 2 seconds and continued, "A preliminary cleanup of the terrifying monsters in the city ruins and the half-destroyed temple has been done. Our mission this time is to explore the underground parts of the temple. Do you have any suggestions? With your understanding of the fallen creator, what should I pay attention to?" "My suggestion," Alger said without almost any hesitation, my advice is absolutely not to go. The fallen creator is a true evil god. Even if his temple has been destroyed, it might still contain abnormal danger which cannot be easily detected. If the one leading your team is one of the other elders of the six-member council, then there's nothing wrong if you insist on going. It will just be risky. But you just mentioned that the person in charge of this matter is Shepherd Lovia, and the true creator is the deity standing at the peak of this beyonder pathway. Therefore, absolutely do not go, Alger added. Your suggestion is the same as mine, but it doesn't require the sun to describe the half-destroyed temple. You could have come up with this conclusion with the conditions at the beginning. I understand. Mr. Hanged Man, you were doing it on purpose. This way, you got a rough idea of the state of the temple without paying anything. You're really just bullying a little kid. Sitting at the end of the table, Klein leisurely reached out his hand to support his forehead. The sun was silent for a few seconds, and seemingly having been put in a tough spot, he said, "But the mission is compulsory." The Hanged Man chuckled and said, "Nothing is necessary. Will you still be participating in patrols before this mission? Find an opportunity and deliberately let the monsters injure you. As for how serious it should be, you can reference the past cases in the City of Silver." At this moment, Audrey read a message from Sun's eyes and movements. That actually works. After a brief period of surprise and confusion, Derek frowned and said, "But I don't have any patrolling missions in the near future." Alger sneered. "You can always pretend to be on the brink of losing control. No, to be precise, you can push yourself to the brink of losing control. Under such a situation, I believe the higher-ups of the City of Silver would definitely not bring dangerous baggage with them on the exploratory mission, right? There is a trick. As long as you keep your spirituality in an empty state for 2 days, you will begin to hear auditory hallucinations and show signs of losing control. If you stop suppressing yourself, then your situation will improve in a week, and you wouldn't really lose control. Of course, your City of Silver definitely has some solutions and contingencies to cure those who show signs of losing control. Your recovery would definitely be quick, so you need to time yourself perfectly. It's best if you start doing so 2 to 3 days before you set off. Derek was stunned for quite a while before he muttered to himself, "Yes, those who show signs of losing control will be placed under control and be quarantined underground in the spire, where they will be treated with medicine, rituals, and mystical items. If the situation isn't too serious, then they only need to consume medicine." Sai, an honest and good kid, has been corrupted by an old fox just like that. But, Mr. Hanged Man, how do you know of this trick of pushing yourself to the brink of losing control? If you use this trick often, losing control might really happen. Klein sighed in his heart. Audrey was dumbstruck when she heard this. She felt as though she'd been educated. Seeing that the sun was still hesitating, as though he didn't wish to lie to the City of Silver's elders, Alger slowly asked, "Do the other elders of the six-member council know that the fallen creator controls the shepherd pathway?" "They don't," Derek shook his head honestly. Alger asked again, "Do you think it's possible that Shepherd Elder Lovia will do harm to the City of Silver? Just answer yes or no. There's no need for any explanations." "Yes," Derek finally couldn't lie to himself. Alger chuckled and said, "So, you are the only one who knows of this matter, but you haven't found a way to warn the other elders of the six-member council, right?" "Yes," Derek's expression grew heavier. Alger changed his seating posture as he leaned back. "This mission carries immense risk. This is something you know. If you die in that half-destroyed temple, then who will be able to find a way to expose the strangeness of Shepherd Lovia? Who can save the City of Silver from this crisis? The fallen creator is a real evil god. You are not pretending to lose control or lying to others for your own personal interests. You are doing so to save the City of Silver. Comparing your honor to that, which is more important?" Derek clenched his teeth and nodded solemnly. "I understand. Thank you, Mr. Hanged Man." Audrey and Fours suddenly had the urge to facepalm themselves. He really is an easily fooled child. However, that's good too. It prevents the Tarot Club from losing members in the near future. Klein sighed silently as he controlled the world to say, "I have a question to ask Mr. Sun." This could involve a transaction. Therefore, I'm requesting a private exchange. Klein quickly switched back to himself and nodded indifferently. Sure. After the others were screened, the world looked at the sun and asked, does the City of Silver have a way to remove an evil god's mental corruption on a beyonder characteristic? This was something Klein had wanted to ask a few times before, but considering that Justice and the others might also be interested, and if the sun was unable to answer questions that involved an evil god, then all eyes would likely be cast toward the godlike Mr. Fool. Therefore, he had restrained his impulse. It was only moments ago when he got inspiration from Miss Justice and came up with the idea of communicating privately. We have never encountered an evil god, Derek answered earnestly. We can only separate a rampager's mental corruption from a beyonder characteristic. That's it, this might actually work. After all, I have the gray fog. Klein suppressed his joy and made the world speak. What do you need in return? It's not a matter of compensation. Sun shook his head. That method and the corresponding knowledge requires me to be at least the captain of a patrol team, or even a strong warrior like the captain of an exploratory team in order to be privy to such matters. The former requires being sequence 7, while the latter requires a minimum of sequence 6. Phew. Klein sighed, letting the world hoarsely say, I hope that you can attain the qualifications as soon as possible.